Hello and welcome to this week's casual review. I am Fred. This week we're talking about Final Fantasy XIII. True story, my original playthrough for Final Fantasy XIII started on the PlayStation 3 way back in 2011. I still have my physical copy right here. And I never finished it. My PlayStation 3 went on the fritz at the time, and when the news came out that the PlayStation 4 was not going to have any type of backwards compatibility regarding PlayStation 3 games, number one, that pissed me right the hell off, by the way. This game has been kind of left dormant. Now, I do have a working PlayStation 3 nowadays, but I really want to use that for specific games that I know that have not been re-released or that are not available on the Xbox side of things via backwards compatibility. But Final Fantasy XIII was released on the Xbox 360 and is a game that is works with that you can play on the Xbox One and an Xbox Series consoles. So finally got around to playing it from start to finish. Finishing it, my playthrough took 61 hours. Managed to get 58 of the achievements, like all the story progression achievements, things like walking 10,000 steps on Grand Pulse, uh, fully mastering out three of the major skill trees. What was it? Synergist, Saboteur, and Sentinel were the three that I was able to do, plus various other little achievements here and there, such as finding. Uh, I totally forget. I'm drawing a blank to a various degree there, but still. It was like finally able to finish a game that I thought I would never really be able to finish unless I took a chance on the on the place on the PS3 that I currently have, and it's like in hope that it doesn't break down. Now, my playthrough was literally a walkthrough guided playthrough, and not just, and we're not talking about using like game facts or anything like that. No, I managed to get my hands on the official strategy guide, and without question, this is one of the best strategy guides I have ever seen in terms of actually detailing out, letting me know how to prepare, thinking ahead for the upcoming sections, and so forth. So it allowed me to actually plan out, like, okay, I want to grind for CP, the equivalent of experience points, in certain areas, and what I was going to do on stream and off stream, in that regard. So again, one of the best strategy guides, and it made the playthrough even better because I was able. It's like it took a lot of the pressure off. You still had to go through all the combat management and like managing the party. Uh, Especially up through the first 10 chapters, where you may only have one party member or two, depending on the circumstance. Now, I actually like the combat system where you are primarily in control of one person, and your companion characters are AI controlled. So you have less to focus on, but at the same time you have a lot to focus on because you have to pay attention. You have to be aware of what skills you have, what jobs you have to set, like paradigms, like combinations of skills for your core team to use. So this way, you always want to make sure you have a meta. You can set six of those, and you shift through them over during combat, and so it makes things a constant like game of chess in terms of managing. Do you be a little bit more aggressive and pushing for staggering the enemy, or do you pull back and start applying some having one of your AI characters applying buffs like haste and Faith onto the party, and another character applying debuffs to to the enemies that you're facing. So there's all that strategy and things of that sort. And I actually found that very enjoyable. It was actually a real positive experience as far as I was concerned, especially since I was pushing the grind out as much as we possibly could to make the characters as strong as possible. Uh, uh, Before even finishing the game. So it's like, again, really, really, really cool stuff there. Um, the story in and of itself, it's kind of your kind of typical. You just got like another religious allegory for the Catholic Church. You know, it's like, oh, it's like the world needs to be destroyed, all the sin and everything. Humanity is done for. And then then you throw in like a bit of racism on top of everything else. With like the people up in Cocoon, not it's like forgetting where they literally came from, and the people on Grand Pulse, you know, that little resentment, and like they get visions that they need to destroy Cocoon to save the world, and just a whole lot there. The plot takes is kind of wonky a bit, but does have some real good character moments. By and large, I ripped on the characters of Snow and Hope, and rightfully so. But generally, the entire your primary characters that you spend are a very very likable bunch. They're definitely a motley crew to say the least. But I didn't really find them overly annoying or grating to any degree. Again, even though I take that back. Hope is definitely like the Wesley Crusher of it. That just like you're just like, yeah, he's very valuable because he's a strong magic user. He's a great medic, and he has some great buff skills to help protect the party and hasten like the ability triggering. But his personality can be a bit much. It really goes like it definitely has like a swing shift with him, and it's like from one extreme to the other. So that might be this like the most off-putting character as far as I was concerned. But other than that, it's like okay, he was fine. Um, so the music and score a decent musical score. No real tracks really stand out beyond the chocobo theme when you finally get to ride one, and it's like it's definitely a nice little jazzy rendition of it. So I could definitely so that, I would say that was the best overall track in the game. But the music definitely wasn't a hindrance, and I didn't. It was like it was enjoyable to listen to, but it's like nothing really totally grabbed me by and large. It was like there was no moment of me saying dramatic music was dramatic uh, because it's like I didn't really feel a need to comment on the music during any course of the streams beyond the Chocobo theme. Now a lot of folks take issue with Final Fantasy XIII with it being very very linear for the first 10 chapters, and there is that reputation that you were still getting tutorials after a very long period of time. To which I say, so I didn't take an issue with that. I've played games like Grandia and Grandia 2, the two of the most linear RPGs imaginable. So it was like, okay, I it was a very enjoyable romp going through like the individual dungeons for lack of a better term, that you were being funneled from one major story point to the next. But you know what the story being that linear did? It actually gave you reasons to care for the various characters. as you got to know everyone. Like you're initially introduced to lightning and Faz almost right off the bat at the start of the game. Then you're introduced to Snow, and by proxy Hope. Then you're introduced, and also Vanille. And then Fang comes along way later. But once all these characters are introduced, you get enough time with them to understand everyone's personality, their thoughts, their concerns. Like everyone has a pretty well developed arc of sorts from when you first meet them until the very end of the game. So again, it's like it's really good stuff there. Um, if there were things I did not like about Final Fantasy XIII, they are related to the system for leveling up weapons, where you basically are having to farm for materials and gil to upgrade them. So it's like you got to use biological materials to put like to activate a multiplier on the weapons, and you use like more mechanical materials to make the weapons better. It's a bit of a convoluted system, um, so I didn't really like that and at all, and it made us like, okay, wait, do I got to level all these weapons up? Is like, is that how the progression works in this game? And this ties into the other major problem with Final Fantasy XIII is that gil, the in-game, in-universe currency of Final Fantasy XIII, gil is very hard to come by. Um, there are various areas where you can certainly farm for it. In terms of like if before you leave, the end of chapter 10, chapter 10 is like has a great spot where you could farm for gil, but to do it you got to fight uh, the cocoon defense forces, and some of them would drop credit chips or incentive chips, and then then you turn around and flip those and sell those. And there are also ways of finding other items throughout the course of the game that sell for a very high value. Problem is that is a lot of grinding. All right, so I and this really comes into play when considering I played Final Fantasy VII Remake last year around like in early 2023, and that had the system where the weapons like leveled up. The more you use them, the more weapons the weapons leveled up, as well as the items that you were using that you had equipped. So factoring that and looking at the what Final Fantasy 13 had, like yeah, it it was not good. But luckily, I was able to get at least a couple weapons up to like their second stars or words. Like if I put in the extra grind, I could unlock a few Ultima weapons if I wanted to do that. The other big thing I didn't like is that the fact that the progression system. There are 10 tiers. You don't get access to the 10th and final tier until after finishing the game. And one thing that I proved is that I could have damn near the the basic 3 tiers for every single character maxed out before even finishing chapter 11. Uh, so if I if the 10th tier was made available, it actually would have meant it's like, okay, cool. Let me just spend more time on Grand Pulse in a big open area and grinding everything up, getting all that extra XP, and really go into the end game as a total badass, it, instead of just a bit of a hard ass. So it's like, so the, but I get why. It's like once you finish the game, it basically becomes open world. You can go and grind to your heart's content. There are super bosses and stuff to deal with, hunts and achievements to be earned that are really meant to be done after finishing the game. It's So it kind of makes me wonder though, if my playthrough took about 61 hours or closer to 62 hours, do everything that I did, how long would it potentially take to do everything else that is possibly possible? I'm going to guess maybe about 100, 150 hours extra just on the grinding, but that's probably being generous to some degree. But everyone's mileage will vary. Now, do I recommend Final Fantasy XIII? Absolutely. It is a game that I feel that its reputation is a bit, uh, as you can tell, I'm using footage from my actual stream, archive footage from my actual streams here. Um, so yes, do I recommend it? Absolutely. It is. If I had to rank it based on the Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy games I played, Final Fantasy VIII is my all time favorite. Then it's a debate of what's number two, Final Fantasy 13 or Final Fantasy 4. I know I like the more than Final Fantasy 15 and more than Final Fantasy 7 remake, and more I like it more than Final Fantasy 10. Since I never finished Final Fantasy 4 the after years of Final Fantasy 10 2 or the original version of Final Fantasy 7 for various reasons, I can't really comment on any of on those three particular games because I have not fully finished them from start going from start to the end. But do I recommend Final Fantasy 13? Yes, I do. Now, would I personally play Final Fantasy 13 again, start to finish? If I trust the PlayStation 3, I would want to go back through and finish the PlayStation 3 version. Granted, I don't have access to the original save because that's on a different one, and I never had the hard drive removed to extract the save data from the original one. But if I play it again, I would definitely want to play the PlayStation 3 version just to say, yeah, for like a bit of unfinished business. Uh, Beyond that, would I put into the work to grind everything out in Final Fantasy 13 to get like the fully maxing out every character's ability, doing all the remaining hunts and stuff like that? I would say Final Fantasy 13 has that potential to be a great filler game where I can just like throw to it if some plans fall through, say like on a Wednesday night. If a Sea of Thieves needs to be put on hold for a week, and I'm not in the mood for playing Smite, I could see Final Fantasy 13 filling in the gap in situations like that. Um, uh, so yeah, I said during the last night of when I was streaming it that I would actually be inclined to do that. But in terms of what I'm doing primarily on stream, there are many games I want to play. So have to move on from Final Fantasy 13, but it's a game I will have in reserved in terms of just wanting to continue and trying to complete as much as possible in the post credits portion of the game. So with that said, those are all my thoughts and opinions here on regarding Final Fantasy 13. Thank you very much. If you have your views on this particular game, leave them in the comment section below. I would like to read them. Would say like and subscribe, but no one actually does that. I got statistical proof. No one does that. Uh, if somebody wants to prove me wrong, okay, prove me wrong on that. That people actually like, comment, and like and subscribe videos. It's like, yeah. So with that said, tighten your friendship bracelet, stay safe, and we'll see y'all in the next video, whatever that may be.